August 1st, 1971. A wealthy Texas oil man pulls into his driveway after a weekend of competitive shooting. The neighborhood's quiet. Billionaires live here, judges, doctors, oil executives, but someone's waiting for him in the dark. Two men. A plan that investigators later said looked like a robbery, but it was more like an execution. The victim was William Asher Richardson, Jr. More than 50 years later, no one has been convicted of his murder. Welcome to the Lone Star and Volunteer State Mystery Hour,
a podcast where three siblings dig into mysteries from Texas and Tennessee. Bear with us as we begin this journey.
And yes, we're still pretty new to this podcast thing.
So if it sounds a little homemade sometimes,
well, that's because it is.
But we figured if we're going to try podcasting, the three of us might as well do it together.
I'm Sue, coming to you from Texas.
I'm Amy, also in Texas.
I'm Jeff, in Tennessee. I occasionally need to remind these two that there is a world outside of Texas.
Our idea for the show is simple.
We explore the strange, the mysterious, and unsolved stories from our two states.
And try to figure out what might have really happened.
There will be research.
There will be questions.
Will probably be a few arguments.
So tonight we are going to start a 3-part series about a murder that shocked the Texas Gulf Coast.
It's a wealthy oil man.
Driveway ambush.
And rumors that the killing might have been a professional hit.
The story centers on William Asher Richardson, Jr., murdered outside his Corpus Christi home in 1971.
More than 50 years later, the case still hasn't been solved.
So tonight, we're going to begin the first episode in our series of the murder of Bill Richardson.
This is the Lone Star and Volunteer State Mystery Hour.
And this mystery starts in the quiet coastal city of Corpus Christi on a summer night in 1971.
He was 43, wealthy. Bill Richardson was living the Texas dream. He was 43, wealthy, charismatic, and part of the South Texas high society.
It's August 1st, 1971, a humid, sticky Sunday night in Corpus Christi. The city's oil elite are tucked away behind manicured lawns of the Country Club Estates, a neighborhood that usually breathes quiet luxury. Bill and his family lived near the Corpus Christi Country Club, in one of the most exclusive neighborhoods in town. Locals called it the Gold Coast.
Gold Coast. Sounds like a place where people don't expect shotguns.
Yeah, exactly.
And on the night of July 31st, 1971, 4966 Oakmont Drive, something predatory is waiting in the dark. The symbol of wealth and security was shattered. Bill Richardson Jr., a flamboyant oil man and world champion pigeon shooter, had just spent the weekend in McAllen for a tournament around 11 p.m. He backed his massive Winnebago into the driveway. Inside the house, the housekeeper, Mary Chavez, was looking out the front window as Bill and his 11-year-old stepson, James, began to unpack.
He steps out, and two men step out of the shadows near the garage. Suddenly, Mary saw two men in baseball caps and sunglasses charging across the lawn. One was tall and lanky, the other was shorter and heavyset. They didn't say a word. They just raised shotguns and opened fire.
James turned just in time to see his stepfather cut down in a spray of buckshot. 45 entry wounds in total. Bill Richardson collapsed near the motorhome while it was still idling.
The level of planning here is chilling. When Mary Chavez ran to the phone to call for help, she found the phone lines had been professionally cut. While James ran to the neighbors screaming for help, the killers vanished into the night.
Real Texas hospitality.
Exactly. Even the doctor next door, Dr. McFarling, said Bill didn't stand a chance. Here's where the social circle gets suspicious. One of the first people on that bloody scene was Roger and Chip Hogan. The Hogans had been with Bill in McAllen and had just walked into their own home when the phone rang. Chip later told investigators that on the drive back from McAllen, a mysterious car had been following their separate vehicles, tailing the group all the way back to Corpus.
Across the street, police found flattened grass, like someone had been waiting there for hours. Mary had told authorities that a stranger had called the Richardsons' house to ask when the family would return, and she also said that she had seen suspicious-looking men around the neighborhood. Police, who found a pack of cigarettes and empty beer cans in the bushes near Richardson's house, theorized that the gunman had been laying in wait.
Empty Falstaff beer cans, Lucky Strike cigarettes, sitting in the Texas heat waiting.
Now they're sitting and drinking warm beer and planning a murder. Standard Texas shenanigans. So they're drinking warm beer and planning a murder. And also, notice Falstaff beer and Lucky Strike cigarettes. Who do you know that even does those? Anyway, so they're drinking beer. They're drinking warm beer. So they're drinking warm beer and planning a murder. Sounds like some real Texas shenanigans.
Yeah, just slightly more lethal.
At first glance, Richardson seemed wealthy. Bill Richardson Jr. lived in a massive shadow of his father, Bill Sr., the founder of Richardson Petroleum. Bill Sr. was the definition of Texas excess. Bill followed his dad's footsteps. He didn't just check his oil rigs. He flew a customized P-51 Mustang fighter plane to do it, the Cadillac of the skies. But police discovered he was deeply in debt.
How deep?
Well, more than $2 million owed to 125 different creditors. But here is the part that signed his death warrant. Half of that was owed to 125 unsecured creditors. These were wealthy men, many of them Bill's own friends, who had no legal way to get their money back through bankruptcy court. In the world of Texas oil elite, if the law can't settle a debt, it seems the elite does.
Some of those creditors weren't banks. They were private lenders tied to gambling circles in Texas and Louisiana.
So, big hats and no cattle. Possibly very angry gamblers. Got it.
Police tracked a possible suspect through a stolen car. Inside, what do you think they found? Falstaff beer cans.
See, okay, and I called this out. That is a clue. Falstaff. Who even drinks that? Have you ever heard of Falstaff beer cans or beer? I've never heard of this.
No. Well,
So
that's
whoever
sloppy.
drinks Falstaff and smokes Lucky Strikes, I mean, we got our guy.
Well, that detail led them to Thomas Otis Hammond. On August 21st, 1972, the state of Texas tried to put Otis Thomas Hammond behind bars for the murder, but the system in Corpus Christi was about to buckle.
Hammond was a monster. He was the third person he'd been accused of killing. He'd previously gunned down a Houston car salesman in his own apartment. Prosecution had witnesses who placed Hammond at Bill's Motel in McAllen just days before the hit. A hotel clerk even remembered Hammond bragging about his getaway car, a car customized to run on both butane and gasoline for long-distance high-speed hauls.
Well, both Mary Chavez and James pointed out Hammond directly in court, but the defense was ready. They hammered away at the darkness of the driveway, questioning how anybody could see clearly. Then they brought in FBI firearms expert who testified that the spent shells at the scene didn't match the specific shotgun type the 11-year-old boy thought he saw.
Well, the court also blocked prosecutors from telling the jury about Hammond's previous murder conviction. To the jury, he looked like a victim of mistaken identity, while a woman from Fort Worth provided a convenient alibi claiming he was with her. Hammond sat there coolly.
And there was Sam Mena, Hammond's partner. Mena was a jailbreak artist who, while sitting in his cell, tried to recruit a cellmate to hire a hitman to kill Mary Chavez before she could testify.
That hitman was Paul Adams Gibbs, better known as Tommy. He's a former Marine, and he had begun a life of contract killing. The police caught wind of the plot and stood guard at Mary's house. Gibbs saw the cops, and he fled back to Fort Worth.
Underworld, well, it has its own way of unlocking handcuffs. 6 weeks later, a deer hunter found Tommy Gibbs in a suit and tie lying in a pool of blood in the woods near Weatherford, Texas. He had been executed, shot 6 times in the face at point-blank range.
Hammond was found not guilty. He walked out of that courtroom wearing sunglasses and a smirk, not even waiting for the bailiff to unlock his handcuffs.
This case stalled. The leads went cold, and Richardson's murder has remained unsolved.
Which is why we're here, digging 50 years later.
Oh, scratching the surface. Next time, competitive pigeon shooting.
Next time, competitive pigeon shooting. So, rich men gamble tens of thousands on who can shoot a bird, and someone ends up dead.
Welcome to the Gulf Coast.
Bill Richard wasn't just participating, he was deeply connected. Some of the connections may have led to his murder.
$1,000 bet on a bird could turn deadly.
Trust us, you don't want to miss this one. Until next time.
Keep asking questions.
And remember, mysteries don't stay buried forever.